Yeah, so we are on. So sorry for the glitch. It happens in the technology bit. Yeah, so
Of course.
quickly, guys, the students are also here. We have around, as of now, 20 students with us, and more and more will join us. So quickly, a bit of again introduction for about my guest speakers. Before that, I'll quickly tell my students what is the intent behind this session that we've done. So basically, LSAT India for the first time is now conducting exam twice. So one is on 25th of March and the other is on 14th of June. Right. So there is lots of excitement in the Indian segment about the exam, but there is a bit of confusion also. So people
Of
would
course.
like to understand what is the implication of the exams being conducted twice, how will the percentile be calculated, and whether I should write it now or should I write it, let's say in June or both the times. So we have two speakers here, experts in their own regard, Mr. Yusuf from LSAC India and Mr. Anand Prakash Mishra, who's a director's law admission from Jindal Global Law School. So we've lost few minutes here. So I will introduce my speakers again in a bit, right? Let's say when the session gets over, maybe then I'll tell you about my speakers a bit more. But there were some students who were waiting. So let us start the session. Yusuf, if you could just tell us about the rationale behind, starting or having this exam twice this year.
Of course.
Yeah.
So again, just thank you for the invitation, and we'll get right down into why we decided to offer the exam twice this year. I think the main reason is that we wanted to be able to give students an opportunity to put their best foot forward, right? So I think far often across the country, when it comes to national exams, students only have one shot, right? And on that particular day, you have to almost essentially be perfect in order for your ability to shine through, right? And we all know that as humans, we are far from perfect. If anything, we have moments of flow where we're able to tap into our perfection and everything kind of comes together quite nicely for us. So this year, being that we were able to administer the test in a remote fashion, right? We decided that we would give students an opportunity, for those who want it, the chance to be able to take the exam twice, right? And so what that does, it allows you to put your best foot forward twice in two separate, right, occasions. So if you take it the first time, right, and you've prepared, you've studied, you are able to get a feel for what the test is, right, how the questions are coming at you, what type of questions they are. And then when you get your scores back, if you're happy with your scores, then by all means you don't, and you're not required to take it twice, right? A law school will and can admit you based on that score, predicated on you meeting whatever qualifications that they have set for their admissions criteria. So if you haven't in your first attempt, then you have an opportunity, right, to be able to go back to the drawing board and do something different this time and really put your best effort into taking the exam twice. So that's essentially why we have done it. Here in the US, we offer the LSAT exam about 5 or 6 times a year, right? So it is something that we're going to do more frequently in India in the upcoming years. This is just our first time doing it, but going forward, we're probably going to at least administer the exam probably a minimum of 3 times in any school year.
Oh, wow,
Right.
that is great, Yusuf. Yusuf, so
Yeah.
just see the exam format of LSAT is it's a percentile based, right? So
Well,
percentile, yeah.
So actually with our exam, you get a scale score, you
Hmm.
get a percentile score, and then you also get a score band,
Okay.
right? And
Hmm.
so I can tell you what specifically each one of those things. And as a student, when you write our exam, we send you your score report, right? And that score report provides some detail as to which sort of like some additional information to help a student discern like what it actually means, right? So for the sake of brevity here, what I'll say is your scale score, right, is the score based on the number of questions that you got right, right? So that's essentially kind of like what your raw score is,
Okay.
right? And so I would say it's an estimate of your actual proficiency on that particular skill. So as you know, the LSAT India has multiple, multiple sections, right? And so we take up all of those sections and we give you one score. Your score band is the range of scores from your actual proficiency. So let's say that on the exam you score 420, right? So your score band could be plus or minus 3 points, right? So within that, you could say that you could say on the high end, it's a 423, on the low end, it's a, what is that, 417.
Okay.
Right. And then the last part of that question is your percentile score. Yeah. Right. And so this is where I think a lot of students, because it's somewhat different, right, is your percentile score reflects the percentage of candidates that took that same exam. So within your test administration, let's say there were 100 students that took the test. Your percentile score is a 90. That means that you have scored higher than 90% of the people that took the exam in that particular test form, right? So that's the difference. And so for LSAT India, all of the exams are equated, right? And so what that means is from the degree of difficulty is consistent from one year to the next. Right. So you won't ever take the LSAT India exam. In one year, you'll have a very, very difficult form. And then the next year, you'll have a really easy form. For us, based on, the over 70-year legacy that we have in testing, we know that consistency has to be preserved and maintained across each testing cycle, right? Otherwise, the instrument that you're using, quite frankly, is somewhat flawed. Right, yeah. Because it's unfair for one student to take the LSAT in March and have a really easy exam, and then for the students in June to have a very difficult exam. Right, so the degree of difficulty has to be preserved and maintained across. That's the only way that you're able to have a reliable, trusted I would say instrument, quite frankly, that a school like Jindal and many others across India are relying on, essentially, us to be able to give them that credible information so that they can make decisions on who to admit into their law programs.
That's great.
So there's a lot of trust that comes into that.
Yeah. So I'm a trainer in this field, and I've trained students for various examination. I'm just love with LSAT exam because I think for so many years I'm yet to come across a question which I think is incorrect. Right, which is definitely not the case with LSAC. Yes. Yusuf, on the percentile bit, when you mentioned the percentile, right? So let's say if in the month of March, I'm just taking a very small number for clarity's sake. Let's say 100 people write exam, right? And I get a percentile of 90.
Yes.
Right. So my percentile is from a lot of 100 people. Then in June, let's say 100 people again write the exam, and these are unique set of 100 people. Right.
Sure.
So now, will my percentile remain 90, or will you compile the pool? So will my percentile be calculated out of 200 people now?
No.
Okay.
Right. So each test administration is its separate organism or its separate thing.
Okay.
Right. So you have one test, right, community, and then you have another test cohort, let's say.
All right. Great. Makes
sense. Unless you're in that second cohort in June, right, your score will be based on that first cohort in March.
Oh, great.
Right. Great. So we're not going to combine the two. You'll have two different scores, right? And so you can report your scores to your institution of choice, right? But it won't be like a combination of the two.
Oh, great. And then it makes all the most sense, to write the exam 2 times, especially if you don't get a better score in the first one. It makes all the most sense to write it the second time. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
I mean, here in the US, people do that quite honestly all of the time, right? I think whenever you have an opportunity to write a test more than once, I think the school of thought is that you should take advantage of that opportunity.
Okay, great. So now the common question, what I did was I floated, let's say, questionnaire to my students that if you have certain questions, you can just ask me and I'll ask Mr. Anand and Yusuf. right? So the common question I've already asked you. One question was the test is online now. Last year was the first time it was conducted online. This year again
Mhm.
it will be online, right? The test will
Yeah,
be online.
yeah.
So will the students get, let's say, a hang of it beforehand? Will there be a proctored test, kind of a test, so that they get used to the mechanism?
Of course, yeah. So it's funny you should ask that because just yesterday, I believe, we just launched the LSAC Law Prep platform, right? And so for every student that wants to essentially get a test run of what the testing environment will be like on test day, you
Mhm.
can go to that platform on discoverlaw.in right now, and you can take a free mock test.
Oh,
Right. And so that system will allow you to go in and, kind of move around so that on test day, you have a higher degree of familiarity with what the testing environment is going to be like. Right. So leading up to test day, we send out a number of emails and communication to ensure that number one, you have all of the operational and technical requirements that you need, right, to be able to take the exam without any disruptions, any delays, or any issues on the day of the test. Right. So the other thing that we also do is to, send you a list of all of the material that you're going to need to either present or that you're going to have, so that on the actual test day, you have a higher degree of confidence, right, that you are prepared and you have done everything that you need to do. And so on test day, all you have to do essentially is really just show up to your computer, right, with the right, spirit, enthusiasm. Obviously, the nerves will be there, right? But if you have done the preparation that you were supposed to do, then you can come to this exam with a lot of confidence and a lot of excitement, quite frankly.
that's great. I think you have answered my question before even I asked you. My other question
Sure.
was, one common query is, how do we get to practice, material? How do we get material to practice for the LSAT India exam? Because there is not so much of content available in the market. So I
Of
guess you've
course.
launched a platform which you mentioned. So in this
Yeah.
platform, will the
Yeah.
students get more practice question, or will are the number of tests limited?
Right now we have up to 10.
Oh
Right
wow. Okay.
before we get to the June test administration, we'll have up to 16,
All right.
right, or
So
maybe
the
even 17. So we're going to
okay.
continually add additional material onto it,
Okay.
right? And then we're also going to be partnering with great organizations like, our dear friend here who is moderating this panel, really to put out more information and more content for students to be able to put their best foot forward, right?
Yeah.
So our goal at LSAC is to always side on side of, well, to help our students get from point A to point B,
Mhm.
right? So the fact that, we haven't had as much preparation material in the market or in students' hands is something that we have been working to address and fix for quite some time. And so
Mhm.
I'm actually delighted today to be able to say that we have LSAC Law Prep available to you. We hope that you will go in and take the free exam, but more importantly, we hope that you will, purchase what you need so that you can put your best foot forward on test day.
That would be great help, and I'm sure these tests would be targeting the Indian examination. The material will
Of
resonate
course,
with what comes in
it's
the exam. Oh,
all
great,
it's
great.
all designed specifically for the Indian law aspirants.
All right. So to all the students who are watching this live and who will be watching this later on, good news is you have a platform by LSAC now which has content. I would be posting the link. I'll take the link from Yusuf and I'll post it on the comment section, guys. So if you're watching this video, or if you watch this video later on, in the comment section, I'll post the link where you can go visit and take some free test and also purchase the content, which will help you practice for this exam. Also, guys, some of you are asking me whether we can ask questions. Yes, you can ask questions. You can put questions on the YouTube chat box. We'll pick the questions from there, and I'm sure Yusuf and Mr. Anand will be more than happy to take the questions. We'll wait. We'll wait for questions to come up for LSAC and for Yusuf. In the meantime, I'll ask Mr. Anand to just let us know about the plans of Jindal Global Law School this year. especially in the context of the exam in the month of 25th of March. So if we conduct the exam in the month of 25th of March, just one question again to you. When can we expect the results for the 25th March cycle?
Probably sometime towards the end of April.
End of April. Okay. So Mr.
Yeah.
Anand, if the first cycle results are out in the month of April, do we expect admission calls? And one question from my student was, will that admission be subject to the second round of testing with LSAT, which is on 14th of June? All yours, Mr. Anand.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks for bringing this important session, I will say. And thanks, Yusuf, for joining us from the US. I must tell you, this is a historic decision. Never ever in the history of LSAT India exam in last 12 years, nor any law entrance exam in the country, ever the test opportunity is given more than once to the students. So, for example, in 2020, the previous year, the current academic year, any student who wrote LSAT India 2020 exam, there was only one opportunity for him or her to take the test, and on that basis to get accepted in the law school, or to miss the opportunity for once and forever. So it's a historic decision which LSAC has taken in the best interest of the students, where they are getting an opportunity on 25th March to take the test. They may get an admission offer based on that. The admissions committee of Jindal Global Law School takes a decision about the cutoff of LSAT India exam for the purpose of admission. And I'll be very candid with you, for all academic programs of our law school, except PhD, LSAT India is the test which we use for 5-year BA LLB and BBA LLB honors program. I think most of the students attending are aspirants of the 5-year law program after class 12. 100% of our seats are filled through LSAT India school. Not one student could get admission at Jindal Global Law School without qualifying LSAT India exam. And this is a practice, this is something which we have maintained for many years, and we are very proud of it. Now, for other programs, even for 3-year LLB program, for LLM program, for the new BA Legal Studies Honors program, LSAT India exam remains our main entrance test. And only if seats are available after exhausting the LSAT India score, we consider any other test score. So now I will come back to your question. A student getting a qualifying score, because we don't know what will be our cutoff in the first administration, but let's presume our cutoff is 80 percentile score in LSAT. Every student who secures a score above 80 percentile will be given an offer of admission. Whoever accepts the offer, they will be admitted to the program and their admission will be final. At the same time, those who do not get an offer of admission, they will have an opportunity to take the test in the June exam, and the cutoff for both the exams will be determined by the admissions committee. They may remain same, or even they may vary depending on the available number of seats. But we intend to give equal importance to both the administrations, and I mean, maybe equal number of seats. That is something, a decision to be taken by the law school admissions committee. In both the administration will be available for their students. So the students are always at a win-win situation. They can take a March test, secure their admission, and just forget about any future administration. The student can write the March test, not getting admission. They have one more opportunity to take the test in June. and they can join the law school on the basis of their June score. So I think it's a great initiative. And as Yusuf told, the LSAT global exam, the international LSAT exam, which in a way used by almost every law school who is a member of American Bar Association in the United States, almost all major law schools in Canada and Australia. And if we look at the world's top 100 law schools, maybe 90 of them use LSAT score. It's like the most important law entrance exam in the whole world. I think we are extremely proud that we use LSAT score for our admissions. And you rightly said, Abhishek, that it has been absolutely flawless, because I have been with Jindal Global Law School for last 10 years, and I'm aware about the very, almost all administrations. Not one single question has ever been found wrong or repeated, or any error or any sort of issues in the administration of the test, unlike even our largest exams in the country, which have been having serious issues of maladministration, sometimes copying of questions from different sources, sometimes other issues relating to originality of questions, or various other issues relating to I will say improper administration of the test. So I think for us, LSAT score is a great way to get some of the finest students in our classes in all law programs. And this has also helped in a big way to further our global agenda. I will give you an example of this year before I close. One of our students is selected for the dual degree JD program in Cornell Law School. Oh. And last week, he approached me that, sir, I need my LSAT scorecard. I'm not able to find it in my computer. Somehow I have lost it. And immediately I had to refer to his student file of 2016, 2017. And fortunately, we got it. And Cornell admissions dean, as a part of their official records, wanted the LSAT India score. So we are using an entrance exam score, which is recognized globally, even after your, LLB admissions in the law school.
Great.
So I feel every law aspirant, irrespective of which law school they join or they choose to study, they must take the test, they must write the test. And increasingly, the exam has become more and more accessible, democratic, resourceful, a lot of question papers, a lot of practice exercises. Because I remember in 2012, there were no such practice exercises. Students were mostly looking for American LSAT sources. But today we have an exclusive, I will say, resource on Discover Law website itself. And then, of course, trainers like you, Abhishek, and your institute. And now I think it's a lot of preparation materials are available for their students.
Yeah. So there are lots of questions on YouTube chat, and let me assure all my students, those who are watching and who put in the questions, I've got a list of your questions, so I'll ask, right? So rest assured your questions will be asked. So few questions. One student, Ashna Jain, has asked, what if all the seats are filled in March administration? Is there a specific number of seats available for both? I think.
Oh, that's a tricky question. It will not happen because, say, we have a number of seats in the law school are approved by Bar Council of India. So we have, say, 300 seats or 5 sections of 60 each in our BA LLB honors program. There are another 5 sections in a BBLLB honors program. So another 300 seats there. So suppose in 5-year law program, we have to admit a class of 600. We will be admitting, say, I mean, a part of it, maybe 300 or 400. It's all depends how many test takers are there in the first administration. Because on proportionately, we will certainly keep seats available for our June administration. And we will try our best to give equal weightage to both the exams. None of the administrations will be preferred over other. So it's not that in March administration, we are going to fill 80% of the seats and only 20% remain available in June. It all depends on how admission committee, which is chaired by none other than the Vice Chancellor of the university and who is also the Dean of our law school, and many other faculty colleagues are members of that. So the committee takes a decision and we weigh all the factors.
Yeah. So here
So I can assure the student, no student will face any injustice in this matter. But I will encourage them to take the March test.
Yeah.
It's always better get your score early to secure your admission and be absolutely free of any stress regarding your further studies and take your board exam in the month of May with maybe a secured admission in a top law school with you.
Great. So now next question I'll ask Mr. Yusuf. This question is asked by Divyanshi Bhardwaj, and I as a trainer can empathize with this student. Student is saying that in a section specifically like analytical reasoning, you have to organize the information in the form of like say tables or some other kind of diagrams, right? To solve questions, you need to organize information that way. Now, if it's an online administered test, and I think there are certain restrictions imposed on the student. So it will be difficult for them if they don't have a blank paper to solve it. So will there be some flexibility this year to allow students to use blank paper, pencil to organize information for the analytical section?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I have to empathize with that student as well. And I think that for us, last year was the first time that we had done this, right? So we were very new and wanted to make sure that we put ourselves and the students in the best position to be successful, right? So understanding what we learned last year, I can't say that we are definitely going to change things, but our desire is to make it easier for students to be able to succeed, well, to successfully answer all of those questions. So we are looking at the rules right now to determine where we have the most flexibility, right? So that we can, if at all possible, allow students some kind of, whether it be scratch paper or something that we can even put into the system itself that will allow a student to be able to work through and create the kind of diagrams that they want to be able to create for the exam. But I think, that's still an open question. But so what I can say is that we're diligently looking into it. And, we can have another discussion on it as we get closer.
Great. Thank you, Yusuf. Again, I think this would be an admission related question. So a student has asked that, if I write both the exam, March and June, is there a cutoff time by which I can apply using the March score? Or let's say I've got a March score, but I don't want to use that score to apply to any law college. I get a score in June, and let's say in June, I get a lesser percentile as compared to my March score. So can I then use my March score? Or if I'm applying after June exam, I have to use only June score.
So Abhishek, this is a good question. And frankly, the University Admissions Committee has not taken a decision about using, say, March score after the admission offers are sent in April. So it will come up later. But certainly, those who write the March exam, they will be given admission offer on that basis in April. The moment result comes, within that week itself, admission offers are issued. And even the students who accept the offer, their admissions are closed. Now, anybody who is seeking admission letter, they should ideally take the June test and submit the June score. If somebody takes both the test and having both the scores, the decision will be available in June. So the March test is primarily for the first cohort who will be admitted. In a way, I will say it's an early admission process for the students who want to secure their admission and then write their board exams. And those who fail to secure admission due to not getting the right LSAT score, they have an opportunity to take the June exam. So it's, I mean, those who are getting an opportunity in the March test, ideally they should secure admission in April, because in most of the cases, the fees are always refundable. And this year we have refunded 100% of the fee till even December as per UGC guidelines. But otherwise also our admission rules have a policy of refunding 100% of the fee till a particular date, generally before classes start. Okay. And our classes start on 1st of August. Okay. So there is sufficient time available. A student should not worry. They should rather focus on preparation and writing the test well.
Great. So another question is from Adya Minakshi. I guess Yusuf will be in a better place to answer this question. The question is, how about if someone registered for the June exam before the news about the March exam was released?
Oh, that's easy.
Can we shift the test to March if they don't wish to take the one in June?
Absolutely. All you need to do is write to us at discoverlawindia@lsac.org, and we will shift you over to March. No questions asked. It's that simple, right? So again, our job is to make the journey as easy as possible, right? That's what we're here for. Since day one, Discover Law, if you talk to anyone who has reached out to us or spoken to us, they will tell you that we're always, our desire is to always be for the student and to do whatever they need to be successful, and we'll continue to do that.
So now there's one question by Shalini. I'll take the liberty to answer it first, and then Yusuf and Anand, if you want to correct me, you may just please go ahead. The question is, how long are the scores valid? Can a class 11 student appear for the exam? Now, for LSAT exam, guys, most of the colleges, they expect you to be in class 12, right? Only then, because you have to join the college, you have to be in class 12, and then the Indian scenario, the score would be accepted, right? Having said that, I make all my students write the exam in the year when they are in class 11 itself, right? There are two reasons for that. One, when you have a goal in your mind, let's say when you start your exam preparation in class 11 and you think that you have to write the exam in class 12, there's a 2-year window. So the intensity is not there that much in your preparation. On the other hand, if you fix your goal that I'll write the exam in 11th itself, there is much more intensity, there is a goal in hand, and you get a first-hand experience to the examination. So even if the score is not valid, which will Mr. Anand and Mr. Yusuf will answer, I think anybody who's in class 11 should definitely write the exam in class 11, LSAT. It's a good preparation, guys. I love LSAT examination. Why? Because see, any examination, when you're preparing for the examination, should train you for the profession as well, right? So LSAT is for a law entrance examination. So if you're devoting your time to this entrance examination, you should, in the process, you should develop skills that help you become a good lawyer. Now, if I compare this with CLAT, right, and I might be crossing a line here, but this is what I believe in, so I'll share. Till last year when the CLAT did not change the pattern, I was not a big fan of CLAT because it was not testing those skills. So I used to make all my students prepare, refer to LSAT material, even when they were not that serious about LSAT, but were serious about CLAT. Now, CLAT's pattern has changed, guys, right? It is coming more towards the LSAT form. So, and I let NLU Delhi always, follow the questions of LSAT. So if you are serious about LSAT, you should definitely write the exam in class 11. If you are serious about Indian examinations as well, like CLAT and ALET, you should definitely prepare for LSAT. You could see that the material, you'll find Indian examination much more easier once you practice that, right? So this was my answer to Shalini's questions. Mr. Anand Yusuf, if you would like to answer. The question was, how long are the scores valid? Can a class 11 student appear for the exam?
So I'll take the perspective of the testing organization, right? So our perspective is that we can keep the scores valid for up to 5 years, right? But our policies are really kind of based around what our institutions and our students need, right? So there's this intersection and synergy, right, that we are always aiming to balance, right? So there's this harmony here. So as a 11th grade student, if you are interested in taking the LSAT, I would 100% suggest and recommend, encourage you to do so, right? We have been thinking about creating a specific exam for 11th graders, maybe something like a pre-LSAT India, really to kind of just introduce them to the idea of it, right? So that they have an opportunity to sit for the exam and get the experience. So, we haven't decided that we're actually going to do it yet. So in the meantime, what I would say is take the LSAT India exam today, and so that you can familiarize yourself with it. Your scores will be valid from an LSAC's perspective for 5 years. I think where we have to be able to, get that harmony is to figure out what schools want and need, right? So if, Mr. Mishra says that, Yusuf, I want the scores to be valid for 2 years, then we'll make them valid, right? Then we'll make them available. Anywhere for us, we have them, they're there. So it's really kind of up to the admissions committee to set that determination for their institution. But I think going forward, a good 2-year window perhaps is probably what our recommendation would be, so that if a student does take it in the 11th grade, they could maybe have an offer in hand going into their 12th grade year and not, quite frankly, have to even worry about taking another exam, right? Because they'll have an admissions offer already with them. But quite honestly, that's not our decision to make. It's really up to our colleagues at the university level. So I think I'll pass it over, and Mr. Mishra can expound on it.
Absolutely, Yusuf. Basically, if we look at LSAT test scores around the world, in the United States, the LSAT score has been declared valid by various universities from 2 to 5 years. The maximum time period, I remember, University of Chicago, they accept it for 5 years.
Yes.
In Indian higher education system, any entrance exam score is valid only for 1 year in the year of admission, because any test taken prior to the year of admission is it can't be used. It can't be validated during the year of admission, because that will be unjust for the cohort which is appearing in that particular year. So it's an annual system in India, and as of now, we use only current year LSAT score. So though I welcome students who want to write in class 10th or class 11th, that will help you gauging your legal reasoning, analytical reasoning, logical reasoning, in a way your aptitude to study law. And also it will give you a fair idea about the test and the competition and everything. And it will help you. But you have to take a test when you are in class 12th and the year in which you want admission. So that is the situation in our system. A past year score cannot be used in current year admission process.
Yes. See, and again, I think that speaks precisely to my point, right? So
Yeah.
The testing organization, we have our own policies, but there's this intersection where we have to develop the harmony. So for the year that you're going to apply is the score that will count for your admission cycle.
Great. Question. It is known that Jindal Global Law School is expanding its campus. So will the number of seats increase by 2022?
I don't think so. I mean, as of now, whatever approval we have from the Bar Council of India, it's the same number of seats we admitted in, say, 2020, 2019, even 2018. We have that 300 in our BA-LLB and another 300 in BBA-LLB. But certainly, the aspiration of Jindal Global Law School is to become, as I will say, prominent in legal education as it could be. We are having 470 full-time faculty members today, which may be the largest faculty members in whole of Asia. And we maintain a 1:8 faculty student ratio. So depending on the approval of Bar Council of India, number of seats can be increased in future, but not in these two programs.
Okay.
The BA-LLB honors program and BBA-LLB honors program, both the programs will remain 300 seats each in our law school.
Great.
So
great. So Jay Pradhan is asking how to exactly prepare for the analytical reasoning section of the exam. So Jay, a couple of things. One, as Yusuf had informed earlier, they have just launched a platform wherein you'll get one free test and I think 10 total paid tests. So I think these would be good enough study material practice for you. I'll be sharing link on the comment section so you can follow the link and you can explore that particular platform. I'll take the opportunity to quickly introduce myself and our brand. We are Eptitude. We coach students for LSAT India examination. We've been getting good results, right? 2019 All India Rank 1 was our student. Last year, 2 of my students missed rank 1. I guess it's a guess because LSAT does not come with a scorecard, detailed scorecard at that point in time. My guess is we missed by 1 question. That's it. So yeah, I'll share our contact number also. You can reach out to us if you need any customized assistance. But so far as the content is concerned, LSAC India has launched a platform with 10 tests in that. We'll be sharing the link in the comment section. Kriti, Balal and Pawan, both of them, they're asking on the same thing. This question, I think Mr. Anand would be asked to Mr. Anand, is basically about the scholarship policy. The specific question is, suppose I get my March score and get admission in a university, but my June score makes me eligible for a scholarship. Will I have a choice?
So that's a very good question. You know, in our 5-year law program, we are yet to announce the official scholarship policy, which is actually issued every year. It's an annual exercise. But I can tell the students that at least 50 students in our 5-year law program will be studying at 50% of tuition fee. We are having substantial scholarships we are planning in our scholarship policy this year, and it will be notified for the students and for the admissions office very soon. But those 50 students, when they are getting selected, or more students for a lesser scholarship, it's always the merit of both March and June administration will be considered. So if a student has written both March and June exam and submits both March and June score, even he or she has taken admission on March exam basis, we will consider their June score for the purpose of a scholarship. We may not consider it for the purpose of admission because he or she has already secured admission. But for the purpose of a scholarship, it will be considered, because that is something we have already done in past also, where we use multiple exams in some of our programs. The scholarship merit will be prepared absolutely on the basis of LSAT test scores. So suppose in March administration, you get a 98 percentile score, and in June administration, you get 99 percentile score. Certainly you should, produce your June score, and that will be accepted, because scholarship decisions are taken after admitting the full class. So that's anyway will happen after June results and the admissions thereafter. So students need not worry. In any case, the merit of them in the tests will always be respected, and they are free to submit both their scores.
That's great.
Mr. Anand, the extension on this question would be, what are the other selection criteria?
Oh, in our law school,
Yes,
LSAT is the only selection criteria.
For the scholarship.
I'm coming to that. Even for a scholarship, LSAT is the only criteria. The other criteria is determining the means of the students. There is a parental income limit, which university fixes every year. And any students whose combined parental income in a financial year preceding the admission year is more than a particular amount. So say 30 lakh per year was the cap last year. So if the ITR submitted by parents or the salary certificate or any income proof recognized by the government, if it is higher than what is decided by admissions committee, then the student may get a certificate of their merit that they were eligible to receive a scholarship, but they may not get the financial benefit, because university believes in giving a scholarship to those students who otherwise may not afford to study at Jindal.
Okay.
So there is, but when it comes to determining merit among the eligible candidates, LSAT test score remains the only criteria. We don't look into any other thing. And I can see some questions in the YouTube chat box. One student has asked about LLB 3-year program. The criteria of admission remains same. For 3-year LLB also, you should take the March administration. You can get your admission offer and secure your seat in April when the LSAT results come. At the same time, the June administration offer option will remain open to you.
And then the other thing that I'll just, as we're talking about scholarships, I'll just quickly add that LSAC, we have 2 scholarships that we offer, one for merit and one for diversity. So we have the LSAT India Topper Scholarship, right? So, and for that, we're going to award it to the topper of both test administrations, right? So at the end of after the June test administration, we'll have a topper, and that topper will get awarded 4 lakhs. And then for the Shamnad Bashir Access to Justice Scholarship, we're also awarding a student 4 lakhs for that one as well. So we will announce formally in March the terms and conditions for all of our scholarships. They'll be available on our website on Discover Law. And then I'll just quickly add that just about every law school that is in the consortium has some form of scholarships available for students based on their merit, right? So it actually behooves you to take the exam twice, right? So, you know, if you are interested in, you know, making yourself eligible or putting yourself in a good position to, you know, be eligible for a scholarship, right? The advice is to take the exam twice, right? So in the first time, if you aren't able to crack it, you can take it again and put yourself in a better situation. The next.
Ashwin Prabhu has asked a question. I'm glad that a student has asked this question. Yusuf sir, can LSAC Global release answer explanation for prep test uploaded in the website?
Can we release the explanations? So what I would say is that we have a publication called, what is it called? Super Prep, right? So if you go to the website right now, you can purchase the Super Prep book, and the Super Prep book will give you the explanations for all of the questions that are in that particular book. And then the other thing that I would say is, quite frankly, I would seek out coaches like Abhishek here, quite frankly, and work with them to get some of those explanations, right? So that's one, that's two. And then the third thing that I would also recommend you do is to go to the Khan Academy website, right? LSAC has a free LSAC course that you can take, right? It has detailed explanations of the questions, and it can give you some deeper detail as to why a particular answer is wrong or right. And that, quite frankly, is also a very, very good instrument and resource for students to use. So those are three things that you can do. With regard to the questions or the products that we have on the actual website, those we probably won't release for those specific questions, but you can get the answers to similar questions in a different venue.
Great. Thanks for all, Yusuf. And from my side, I'll try to collaborate more, and I'm more than happy to come up with the explanations. So yeah, I'll bug you on this, Yusuf, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I think we are getting questions, but there has to be an upper limit of the session. So we'll just have another 5 minutes for the session, then we wrap it up. Those of you who think your questions are not answered, please put your poster question on the comment section. I promise I'll take them up. I'll get you an answer for those questions, right? So if you're not able to answer your question, please post it on the comment section. Okay, I'll just take one last question. There are quite a few of them. Okay, so Pawan Singh, kindly let us know about the foreign collaboration and exchange program, JD options, and about internships. I think this is from Jindal Global Law School. And sir, if we can just answer this and wrap the session in another 5 minutes, that would be great. Over to you, sir, Mr. Anand.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. And thank you, Pawan, for asking that question. At Jindal, we have three types of academic collaborations and exchange opportunities for students. One of the major collaboration, I will say, is for double degree JD program, where the students have opportunity to earn the American Juris Doctor qualification, the American law degree, after studying their law degree from Jindal Global Law School. So what they do after 4 years of studying at Jindal Global Law School in the 5-year law program, and after 2 years of their study in the 3-year LLB program, they get an opportunity to go on as an exchange student to our partner universities in the US. And mainly it's Cornell Law School, Indiana University Morer School of Law, University of Arizona Law School, and also Franklin Pierce, the University of New Hampshire Law School, where they can pursue 2 years in their law school in an advanced JD entry. So JD is a 3-year degree. If you study from anywhere else and you want to pursue American law degree also, you will end up spending, say, 5 years in India and 3 years in the US, 8 years to earn both Indian and American law degrees. But a Jindal student, due to our very unique collaborations and also credit transfer system, they can do this in 6 years, and also saving 2 years of precious time and the expensive tuition in the American law schools of 1-year JD program. So it's a great opportunity for any student who thinks of multi-jurisdictional legal education and also qualification, who want to qualify as a lawyer and in both Indian and American courts. Many of our students have pursued that. If I remember correct, 6 of our students joined Cornell last year, many joined Indiana and Arizona. So that is the first form. The second form is the regular semester exchange program, where our 3rd, 4th, 5th year students, generally 3rd and 4th year students, after 2nd year, they become eligible for that. They go for a semester abroad with over 100 partner law schools we are having around the world. So in the United States, in Canada, in Europe, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in China, in Australia and New Zealand, around the world, we have got collaborations with 250 universities and law schools. 100 of them provide one semester on their campus to our students, where they are not charged any tuition fee. And they just need to organize their travel and their accommodation. They are selected, of course, on academic merit. So merit is the only criteria of selection in our law school. But indeed, it's a great opportunity to spend one full semester in a top law school, say like Cornell or Columbia or National University of Singapore or Peking University or Tsinghua, or in Australian law schools like Melbourne or Sydney or Monash, and then come back to Jindal. And at the same time, we also open our campus to all these foreign universities. Their students can come and spend a semester on our campus. So we have received students from various law schools from around the world, and they have taken that option. The third opportunity is short-term study abroad programs, which are very unique. We have 2, 3, 4 weeks short-term programs exclusively for Jindal Global Law School students, where they go to a partner university, say like University of Oxford. We have a very popular summer school. It's called Jindal Oxford Summer School. We have another summer school with Harvard University, with Harvard Law School in Law and Development. We have another summer school with the Law School Global League, and which is offered in various campuses around the world. We have dedicated summer schools which are available to these students, and that is open to all. Any of our students can apply, go and study in the partner universities, and they can spend, say, 3 weeks taught by professors of our partner institutions, and they come back with that experience. Some of them are even inspired by this experience to pursue, say, a master's degree later in those institutions, or to explore further. So the short-term study abroad programs are, I think, very popular. We have one with Fletcher even in Tufts University. Their international law programs are considered to be the best in the world. We have even a tie-up with the Wharton School in University of Pennsylvania, which is like the world's #1 business school on various rankings. And they have an exclusive tie-up with our university to offer a summer school for OP Jindal Global University students. Okay. So there are multiple summer schools we offer. And any student who is enrolled with us, who is our student, can choose to go to those summer schools.
Great, Mr. Anand. So with that, I think we would wrap up the session. And I'm confident most of your queries would have got answered here. I'll just quickly tell you about us also. It makes sense from the discussion that you should write the test twice. If you want preparation help, we as a brand, we coach students for LSAT preparation. These are some of our results. More than 50% of our batch score 90 percentile plus. So I personally take great pride in that, because the exam, it inculcates critical thinking in a student, right? So if you are preparing for this exam, trust me, you become extremely professional person. Your critical reasoning improves. The disclaimer that I attach it, please do not apply critical reasoning in your personal life, right? Your personal life will go for a toss. But yeah, professional space, you'll become a good professional. I've shared the contact number here. You can reach out to this number and check us about the batch that we have already started for March LSAT exam. So I hope to interact with you. I hope most of your queries are answered. If not, please put the message on the comment section. I'll take it up and I'll answer those queries. I'll take the opportunity now to thank Yusuf, thank Mr. Anand for making time for this. I hope it was worth your time, and I'm sure students would have gained a lot from this session. Any closing statement from your side would really help.
So Mr. Mishra, why don't you go first?
Oh, I mean, Abhishek, it's a pleasure, whenever we interact with the students or talk to them for something which is, going to affect their whole life, because sessions like this, it may appear to be a small thing, but it may be life-changing and transformational for a lot of people. And it's like the first step in their journey to becoming a lawyer and legal professional and future judge or advocates or, academicians and scholars. So it's absolute pleasure, and thanks for organizing it. I will rather encourage you to organize such sessions even in future. And I will be very happy to come back again, maybe in the month of May or June or whenever. It's all pleasure, and maybe we'll be happy to answer more and more questions of your students in future. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I definitely have to echo everything that was just said. I'd also like to just say a warm thank you to Abhishek for inviting LSAC Global to participate in this conversation. Right, it's always a pleasure to talk about what we're doing to help students get from point A to point B. Right, and I'd also just like to congratulate your students for taking this step. Right, for actively, deliberately deciding to be a part of this conversation, because ultimately, if you aren't taking the bull by the horns and really taking charge of your future, then someone else is going to take charge of it for you, right? So we're here to support you as resources. We're here to aid in your journey and to be guiding lights for you, right? And so my hope is that we can continue the conversation. If you want any additional information about something that you've heard here that either wasn't clear or you want some additional information about it, then I would encourage you to contact us on Discover Law India at lsac.org, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Right, and just thank you. Invite us back, please. We love to have these open discussions. I think it would be even better if we could do these kind of things in person. But for right here, right now, Zoom is perfectly fine.
Great. Thanks again, gentlemen, for your time, and we hope to do many more informative sessions again. Right. Thanks again for your time. Bye bye. Take care.
Yeah.